All right, so we're back with the second unboxing now of Strange Tales since the first one did so well. This one will be hopefully a little bit earlier in that you all have not completely done all of your releases yet. You'll probably already have done pre-releases, which I've done 2 so far, so I have a little bit to work with the set, and I've pulled nothing of note legitimately for rares, like no genuinely good figures. I won both, but that's just more on being able to play with some strong synergies out of even just the rares, so hopefully we'll show that. I'm going to start with 2 booster sealed as opposed to the full brick build that we did last time. We'll still do a full brick build just in case there are any major tournaments that either A, I don't know of, or B, the next major I know of is Champion Clicks here in Orlando, and that one's slated for March, so in case they don't get Venom somehow, which they should, to my knowledge, you might still be playing with Strange Tales. And so even from a sealed point of view, this set, I know there have been some complaints about not being able to field a full team out of 2 boosters because of the Astral Packs and the Patrons and Possessors. So we'll see if that comes up. We're just going to use these 2 right boosters here, see what we get. First things first, though, we do have the Legacy card, which unlike X-Men, which we did previously, you could, let me move this over to the side now so we can actually see. You could use those with the X-Men sealed, with the team sealed. However, this is a Legacy card purely, and it cannot be played in the set since the figure does not exist in the set. And it is the Rare Clea from Earth X. So you know a lot of people, they try to guess which figures are coming out for Legacy cards to make sure that they can have them ahead of time. I was betting on a Clea. I was betting on the one from Avengers 60th, since it was Clea, Sorcerer Supreme, and all the chases have that kind of same naming convention. I was sadly wrong. She has the same Sorcerer Supreme trait that all the others have, as well as being able to make smoke clouds and give friendly characters stealth, and super senses on a 4/6 on the latter half of that dial. Having Defenders, Mystical Rulers, no Midnight Suns, which would have been really helpful if she gave the whole Midnight Sun stealth and smoke cloud, since there's other ones that turn off improve target hinder. But the Clea is okay. She's definitely not like one of the top end Legacy cards in this set. That's like the Tri-Sentinel Dormammu over here. But yeah, so we'll just have that, set that off to the side for now. And we'll get to those first 2 boosters we were talking about, which I've been told these first 2 tend to be the better ones. So we're doing a little bit different. So let's just see what we get out of them. I'm just going to do this the way I tend to. And most people will get mad about how I open boosters. You just rip the thing open like it's a piece of cardboard. Using the first 2, we've got Robbie Reyes, the uncommon mindless one, a cat familiar, the vampire, and the common strange. Already looking out at this booster just to play. The common strange is very good, as is the uncommon mindless one. I have played against a Robbie. He did okay, but he didn't really carry the game as much as he should at rare. And second booster, we have, that's usually why you look at the first 2 boosters there. That would be the Symbiote Sorcerer Supreme, which is probably one of the lesser chases in my opinion, but he is still extremely good, again, as a chase. Probably one of the more playable in a sealed. So if we were to do a 2 booster sealed out of these 2 boosters, extra card, just because that's the kind of flavor card we don't need. So that would be Druid, Symbiote Supreme, Enchantress, Dum Dum Dugan, and a Wand Agent, who actually, if I remember right, the Wand Agent at 45 was doing very well in what I played against. One of the pre-releases, the other one had the Robbie Mindful one, or Mindless one, not Mindful, Strange, etc. So if you were to play 300 points sealed out of this, you're starting with that Symbiote Supreme. Start with this guy. How do we get you out of here? Usually have to push up from the bottom when the sculpts get too big. So you're going to start with him. He's going to be 50 points. Then beyond that, you're probably going to want to play the Mindless one at full. I know a lot of people like to play them at the 15 because you think it's an expendable goon trait. They kind of regenerate themselves. However, this one, if we show the card real quick, is 5'11", 18-3 with Sidestep Precision, Invulnerability, and Range Combat Expert. He is a 50-point figure that will fire through blocking out of adjacency, and he will actually be firing 11 for 3, Range Combat Expert. That becomes a 12 for 4. Not many things in this set are hitting that hard, so he actually is one of the few figures that carried me in my first sealed, because I'm like, 12 for 4, not many things are going to be hitting hard like that, especially in this set, which seems to be constructed a little bit on the lower end of power. So you're going to start with this. This is 2 figures, 100 points. You're already looking at possibly a mystical theme, which most of this set will be. You check to see if anything at all has leadership, which it doesn't look like it will be, which is fine. The set seems to have not as much leadership as I would want out of a set. My first one I played with no leadership, and it was a little rough. Second one, I pulled the rare Dormammu. He has leadership, but I didn't have enough figs to actually utilize all of it. So you're looking at 100 points. You're probably going to include, since both of these can be outwit, this Doctor Strange, the common, punishes that against Mystics. So you're going to play him, and you're going to play him down at 40. You can play him up at the 75 if you want an attacker, but I personally prefer the sidestep flight, so you can kind of move your figures around, kind of like medevac them out of the way. Telekinesis, be able to move them around, especially the mindless one who only has sidestep. You're increasing his effective reach from like 6 to about 10, which is a lot better, and getting symbiote a lot more dangerous with that. So now you're looking at 140. I will always shill the Midnight Suns video game. I know a lot of people didn't like it, too much dialogue, not enough actual combat in the game. I thought it was a lot of fun, and Robbie Reyes was one of the better characters in it. 85 points at full is a lot, but now getting somewhat of outwit protection and other attackers that can take attention off of him. 140 plus 85 is what, 225? I'll double check that in a second, but 225, you're gonna look at possibly including, those points are getting real close. Yeah, so looks like we're probably not gonna end up using the cat, which gives prob. We do have prob with Strange, so it's not like we're losing out on it. Let me double check that. So as you know, you're doing sealed, just use a calculator. 50, 50, 40, 85, 225, just like I thought. That means that we have exactly 75 points to deal with after this. So if we do the 15, so 15, we have, after that we have 60. Which is fine. We can then work with let's try an Enchantress at 45, another TK. She goes into this really annoying last clicks, which are like, you finally get her off of her TK. You finally get her off of that sidestep. So you're able to control her a little bit better. All of a sudden, she just goes on to invincible. She becomes a lot harder to kill and just hard to score those points. And again, with Strange, we'll be having outwit protection, and this gives us second TK. We don't have a leadership, which is rough. This way, you don't have to have Strange in the action all the time. The cat gives probability control to an adjacent character, I believe is how that works. Yeah, probability control only to target adjacent characters. Note, you will still need line of fire with that. It does not say regardless of line of fire. So you will have to worry about that a little bit. And we did get no spell one-shots. The only other thing I would say is possibly instead of Enchantress, you could look at using the Wand Agent as Wand. Actually, something tells me it's probably better actually to use that Wand Agent over Enchantress. So scratch that. So we're giving all mystical keywords shield team ability, so that can help extend ranges. So you might be looking at all of a sudden mindless one firing instead of from 4. You get him set up, you get a Strange to sidestep carry the cat, and you get Symbiote or Robbie or someone next to him. They all have shield. That 4 is going to a 7 after a TK. This guy's just going to start sniping people down then. So yeah, I think this would be a great 300-point sealed team from these boosters. And notice the core combo is actually not even from Symbiote Supreme. He is here. He does have that. Just going to put that card up there a little longer. He has that Sorcerer Supreme trait, essentially, which gives him the Safeguard Mystics, which is good in this set because there's not a lot of Invincible out there, which the Robbie does have, which is super helpful, so he's not taking Mystics damage. But he has that ability to flip down, like flip back up, face down one-shots. But notice, we didn't pull any. He didn't come with one, and the other booster didn't have one. So he's not really getting use out of a lot of that trait. He does have that Blades attack, which is good. He has improved movements, which are good. Shape change and like senses only on a 6. He does not have anything beyond that. I think maybe his special defense might. No, reflexes, toughness. No actual way to use that Spider-Man team ability too well. So let's just pop the rest of these out and then get moving with the rest of the brick. But that is just a quick 200 or quick 300-point team. How low the cost anymore? You probably could do 200, but a quick 300-point team from this in case you're doing a 2-booster sealed and needed to know a few things. As we do this brick, I will also be showing some figures that I think are particularly strong in sealed, as well as a few that I think are kind of red herrings, like traps. You probably don't want to play these certain characters. Just right off the bat, out of who is here, Dugan is going to do the same thing as the Wand Agent, but for monsters, he was actually pretty good as well. That 3 range is a little rough, so you have to be using that shield to the best of its ability. But none of these are really the trap characters I want to talk about. Maybe the Vampire, but at 25, or not even 25, 15 points, you're not invested in him doing a lot. Actually, at 15 points, a sidestep that can fly, he's really good at moving things like the cat into position or any of your supporting figures without taking actions. That's actually the exact opposite of a trap. He's just not doing what you think he's going to be doing. which is a common trait with a lot of figures in the set, actually. You might think because of their high point value, they might have to be primary attackers, or the vampire, it threatens, if we want to go to the top over as well, it threatens to be able to heal past that onto these much more dangerous clicks. Like getting up to a 20 defense is absolutely absurd, but he'll likely never see that. Having to get him up in the mix long enough, he'll probably heal once and then get KO'd. So using him as a more supporting role is probably much better. So that's what you're going to find with a lot of these pieces, most notably the rare Agatha that I will probably highlight when we get to her, because she is who absolutely won me that first sealed. I'm not going to do 2 booster sealeds for the rest of these, like full, mostly because we're working on a, like, peek behind the curtain, we're working on a little bit of a truncated timeline on this one. If we can get these out a little, if we can get access to the set a little earlier somehow, we would be able to do 2 booster sealeds for each of them and kind of show off what you could look for. But we'll just do that full 2 booster sealed for that one. The rest of them could be more, like if we were able to do this with another set, it would be episodic or something to show off each 2 boosters, give them each their amount of time, and showing off more of what these figs can do. Second 2, okay, we're gonna get again. So this is one of those boosters that we were kind of talking about could be a problem, where you have an astral and you have a lot of low point figs, and you have these little possessor cups. Possessor or patron, they're the same. There was some sort of error when this set was coming out that they didn't come with cards. So a lot of people in sealed wouldn't be able to use them. And then even in constructed, you'd have to find some other way to get them. Like WizKids did very, very nicely after a minute, put out the print and play again, which people have been asking for years, up for them since they didn't have official cards. So that was helpful. But yeah, just they didn't put anything out. Like there's no official cards, so you can't really use them in a sealed unless your judge at your venue is going to be saying, yeah, you can look at them, or they already printed them out. So that one's very annoying that you can't do that. Astral Agatha, 15-point outwit, is absolutely a hard carry figure. I used in both sealeds, actually. She has an outwit that has to be adjacent, but that's not nearly as much of a limitation that you think it is. Also, as I've been speaking, I was unboxing, and that is a super rare Prime Baron Strucker, who is, again, a pretty strong figure. Low points, high utility, outwit leadership, something that would have been great with those others. He turns everyone on your team essentially into an expendable goon, which in sealed is not as strong as it will be in constructed, which is, again, a very common theme in this set. Overall, I'd say the set is a little bit weaker in terms of sealed. Things in the set need synergies that they might not have access to. And when you're dealing with a 2-booster sealed, you won't likely pull the synergies together. As soon as you get a brick sealed and team sealed, you can start purposefully building with these synergies in mind. Notice when we pulled this first 2 boosters, we didn't have any one-shots for Spider Supreme. Now that we've pulled these, we have one, which is Winds of Watum, which is one of the weaker ones. It's not the weakest, but just the ability is, this one is keyword tied. When a friendly character with a mystical keyword knocks back another character, you may choose the character's knockback 6 squares instead. So it has to already be knocked back, and it's keyword tied. So you need a mystical fig to roll doubles, or with Force Blast, or with Quake, or it's extremely limited on what it can do. The best case for this might actually be Nico Minoru, because she has that outwit that automatically knocks people back. So you could flip Winds 6 squares, they're gone, they're out of the fight for a minute. It'll take them a little bit to get back. Outside this, the other ones I want to highlight here, Ebony's okay, Clay is a very cheap TK. The main ones out of these I want to highlight, other than talking about the Nick Fury, or sorry, after talking about the Strucker, because again, outwit leadership, mastermind, poison, that gives the Hydras, Mystics, and Minions of Doom. But notice, there's no real Hydra here. Again, he needs constructed, but in sealed, he's a 35-point leadership outwit. That alone is worth playing. So I'm not going to highlight on him as much because, again, this is about, we'll probably get back to him when we do the brick build section. But when you're looking at your 2-booster sealeds, looking at stuff like Baron Mordo. Baron Mordo is an uncommon. You are likely, or no, he's a common. You're likely to see him more as you play in this, and you got to play him at the full line at 80 or the half at 40. Personally, 4 damage at 40 points is frankly absurd. The fact that it's a sidestep flyer with a 4 damage outwit is absurd. He does fall off pretty heavily on click 2, And that is kind of, I assume, intended in a set that is full of mystics. However, he does have that trait that when a friendly character is dealt damage by mystics, or I'm going to flip this around so I can actually read it. When a friendly character is dealt damage by mystics or targeted by an opposing character's outwit, perplex, or prob, after resolutions, heal burn more to 1 click. So what he's going to do, likely, is he's going to attack, outwit the defense, attack, then he's going to take the mystics and immediately heal it right back 1. So that fear of, him kind of falling off immediately is not as much if they're specifically taking damage from mystics. If he takes damage from anything else, though, he's kind of out of it. But at 40 points, that is a straight up value. The other one that I would probably note is Frank Drake at specifically, again, the 40. Another 40-point outwit, another mystics, and he has stealth. Stealth, this set doesn't have a lot of improved target hindering out there, so the ability to have stealth and an outwit is very strong. You could play him up at 85 if you wanted that precision strike, but now you're only getting a sidestep, you're not getting a charge, and you're getting perplex, not outwit. Outwit is generally stronger and is set with very few cosmics. And this is the Nightmare marker. I cannot for the life of me tell you what it does without having its card in front of me, and that's because they didn't print them, and yeah. I know how they function as the possessors is that you need to have a character KO'd and then they attach, and then you can remove them with a power action. I know the drum one is actually very strong. Jericho Drum, he makes so you cannot make ranged attacks. So if a ranged attacker gets a KO, he's out of the fight for another 1 to 2 turns depending on action tokens. It's very strong. So next 2, let's see what we get again. We've already pulled a Chase and a Super Rare Prime. I was kind of told the distribution on this set was not going to be amazing, and it has not been living up to that at all. And now we actually pull probably one of my top wants of Super Rare from the set. We get Magic, who is actually the best character in the Midnight Suns video game. She was the most fun, great characterization. We get that Doctor Strange as well, who she is kind of the apprentice of in most recent comics. We also get Hannibal King, so kind of a Midnight Suns booster here going on. All right, so again, we've talked about the Strange already when we talked about the build, so you know what he's going to do. We talked about the Vampire already. Again, that sidestep carry. So both of those are exactly what you expect. Hannibal King is another Midnight Sun. He has 50 points or 100. You might want to play him at the 50 if you want to play him. And again, this is another character that is not going to do what you think it's going to do. You expect 50 points. He's got that mind control, blades, willpower, shape change. He's not doing a lot that way. What he is going to do for you is he is a carry piece with a flyer. He ignores characters for movement, and he has traded super senses, but Smoke Cloud is free with stealth. So he is going to be able to move around and play stealth wherever you want it. Strange is exactly the same. Magic, other than the really hard to get X of Swords OP kit magic, they finally gave me a magic that was not just a taxi. As much as that is a running joke for the character that she is the X-Men's taxi. But play her at the full 70. She is a Sorcerer Supreme. She is a great melee fig. She is a leadership. If you pull this in sealed, you're playing her. Like, there is no question. That is true for most super rares, but most certainly of Magic. And so, realistically, again, I heard the right sides of these bricks were a little loaded, but I didn't expect to be seeing the Chase, the Super Rare Prime, and the Super Rare there. I don't know if we have any more Super Rares even left at this point. Maybe one. Maybe one. We have another Patron, which this one is, I think that's Agamotto, just based off the sculpt. Strange always comes with one because they don't add against your action total for that, or against your build total for that Rare Strange. Rare Strange is also very good, but in a couple weird ways. Astral Clea is a 15-point support, so that is another one that you will want to use. Actually, pulling an Astral Strange with a Doctor Strange is good because this one essentially comes in for him when he's KO'd. So that's just kind of free. And the cat is that prob adjacency. This is one of those boosters that we were saying that if you pulled like 2 of these boosters, you'd be in trouble. So let's say you pulled this booster and you pulled this one. You're looking at 15 for a cat, 15 for a Strange. So that's 30, 45, 45. Let's just count Strucker over here. 45, what's that? 50, 80, 80, 75 is 155, 190, 200, 245, 245 plus 70, so 315. You would cut the Astral Strange. You would have to play every single thing from these 2 boosters, barring the Strange on your sideline, so it is still being played, and the Nightmare marker that you don't even know what it does unless you have them printed out ahead of time. This is kind of the argument they were making that this is not a great sealed set. I would argue this set might be better in draft, where you sit in a pod and you select figures at a time, passing the boosters around, just to make sure everyone at least has a shot at a higher valued fig. But yeah, as Strange is another one, actually one of those pieces that you do want to look out for in your sealed. the rare strange in particular, just because he has the ability to grab these, which I don't know which one Agamotto is in particular, because I pulled Hogarth in my sealed. Hogarth let me use Outwit or Perplex twice a turn if you already had one, and he doesn't. So Agamotto probably is one of the ones that has prob, and he does have prob. So getting 2 probs every turn would be much better than what I was doing, because I pulled Hogarth, and I had to put that on an Astral Agatha to get 2 Outwits a turn. So my opponents are pretty much automatically scoring Astral Agatha and Hogarth every time. But again, this lacks a lot of cosmics. As you can see, we have not pulled a single one, so Outwit is very strong. That's why these common stranges tend to be very good. Here we have another one of the MVPs of my first sealed, which is Morbius. It was in fact Morbin time, the entire sealed. And again, not in the way you think. Actually, this would be a great 2 boosters. As much as this is an Astral pack, this is one of the ones I say you shouldn't worry about because you are looking at a 200-point Dormammu with an Astral Dormammu and an Astral Clea. So you could actually play this Dormammu, play Clea, play Morbius. Actually, this is an annoying boosters to pull in sealed. Looks like we are roughly doing 2 booster sealed, just not giving you full builds. So Dormammu was a 200-point 10 pull. I ran him in the second sealed. He can generate mindless ones and Astral Dormammus. So you're going to get 2 of those to generate, and then you're probably going to play him with Morbius, 250, and then probably just Astral Clea, I don't know, double up on that support for some reason. However you want to figure it out after that, but you're looking at Morbius, and you're looking at Morbius, looking at Dormammu. I'm actually going to highlight Morbius here, wherever his card has gone off to. Dormammu, there's not much I can tell you about like how to run him. He's just this ranged beat stick with like a 12-4 RCE, so he's like a 13-5. You're going to play him. He is going to hit really hard. He sees through hindering, so he's going to see through all the stealth in the set. And he's one of the few cosmic figures, so he's not getting Outwit. You're just going to use him. He's going to generate these guys. You can kind of funnel these at people to get KO'd to heal you. I assume that's what these ones do. Yeah, because this is the exact one I had. He's just going to be hard to take down. Now, Morbius is going to make that infinitely more annoying. Traded stealth, again, like a lot of the Midnight Suns, or at least some of them. Hannibal King, him. People like Magic didn't get it. Robbie didn't get it. Switch didn't get it. Strange, all of them. But what he does get is he gets the stealth. He gets that sidestep carry. He's another one of these vampire dials that's going to start halfway down with that sidestep. But you're looking at a sidestep super strength, so you can do some terrain manipulation. So he's going to be doing terrain manipulation. He is going to be carrying people around. But you see these vampire dials, and you assume they want to get in the mix immediately, and they want to just immediately start hitting, start healing up past that starting line, start getting into these much more scary clicks, a lot like that vampire we showed earlier. But you're probably thinking, all right, Morbius he's a bigger character. He's 50 points, not 15. So he should be good right from the bat. Go, get in there, you'll be fine. No, he is a medic. He is a doctor, and that is how he is played, actually. He has support, Outwit, and when he heals from support, and notice this is heals, not would heal. So it's a little different than Morlun from Spider-Man, where even if he's top dial, he can do it. Morbius needs to actually be healing figures, not just would heal them. But in this case, he would follow behind Dormammu. Dormammu gets hit by something, either masterminds it off, or you just accept to take the hit. In this case, you're more likely to just be accepting the hit, and then let Morbius heal him, and he'll also heal with him. You'll get about 2 clicks of that before you need to stop being a medic, and now you're an attacker. But allowing him to take those vital first turns as a supporting figure is what helped him carry my first sealed as well. It was him and the rare Agatha that did most of the actual work, with this uncommon mindless one actually just firing as a damage, which was, again, weird that the 2 rares I pulled were both supporting figures, not attacking. So a lot of this set is not what it seems when you first pull them. Again, Magic, traditionally, the Taxi now turned into a primary attacker. We get another one of these cups, and we actually get Blade. Another rare. Like I said, we're probably not getting anything else out of these last boosters. This seems to be very front-loaded on that right side, which I've heard is fairly common. So anyone that runs a store that's watching this, definitely shuffle them up a little bit. Otherwise, people will just go for whatever's on the right and go for those. Blade, you're probably going to want to play him at full at that point because he's a ranged RCE fig, sees through hindering. Just the mobility's too low on the low end. Wand Agent again. This one I actually don't know is Shanazar. Shanazar's marker is whenever you would take a power, free, or it might have been move. It might have been move, power, or free. After you take any of those actions, you take 1 penetrating, which would include, I believe, the power to remove it. So it's just this really annoying punish. A Darkhold Redeemer, another standout, mostly because it gives you gives adjacent friendly characters or adjacent friendly, so not himself, but anyone adjacent, they end up getting Safeguard Mystics, which in this set is most of it. I mean, if you're looking at it, you've got like Mystics, not for once, Mystics, not Mystics. So just a lot of feedback damage that you would be able to ignore just by keeping this guy's next to your ranged attackers because he's enhancement anyway. One thing I noticed I have not been doing, showing off one-shots. I've been kind of picking up and taking the cards away. And one-shots coming off of essentially a regional just the other day, they are a nightmare to deal with. Actually, as I'm going through here, I have not been ignoring the one-shots. I just have pulled pretty much none except for this and Winds of Watum, this one is a good example of a lot of the one-shots that are coming up. When a friendly character with the mystical keyword, turn it back around, is hit, you may choose that they can use Impervious this turn and reduce penetrating damage. So yeah, they can use Impervious and can reduce penetrating damage this turn. So there's a lot of defensive one-shots coming out that are starting to reach a critical mass of you're running 4, 5, 6 of these almost at this point, because if you're running Chair Panther, you can't block them all. And this set added Shielded Seraphim, it added Images of Icon, which we have not gotten yet, and in the release day, we'll be adding, I believe it's called Spectral Armor, which is another just deal 1 unavoidable to one of your figs. They reduce all damage by 4 and can reduce penetrating until your next turn. There's just a lot of these coming out that are just completely stopping your opponent's attacks, and it's reaching a critical mass, so they're starting to get pretty annoying with that. Sealed-wise, Bloodstorm is the only thing really of note here. If you're pulling these boosters, you're going to play Bloodstorm. He is another one of those dropship kind of figures where he generates bystanders. He generates as a free action, so he's just going to move and then generate them. You can charge and then generate them. It's not beginning of turn. It's a lot more flexible. And they basically fill out everything you want on a team almost, because I think one has Outwit, one has like Flurry Blades, and he himself is a vampire dial. So again, all right, so actually we have another one shot here I should talk about because this is one of my top 3 from the set. So we'll talk about Bloodstorm first though. Bloodstorm, he's bringing you a leadership. He does have stealth. Free, he generates bystanders. He has Steal Energy and can heal past. And then he has a special attack he has on any of the above starts and the last click, which is when you hit after resolution, you can choose a hit character. Character becomes friendly to your force and then makes an attack, then can revert. So this will get essentially it was mind control, but you're going to deal damage first, and you're also getting around Battle Fury stopping you. The other thing is these bystanders you're getting. You've got a tie-up piece with Plasticity, Poison, Exploit. You've got a Blades piece with Battle Fury. So Flurry Blades, so Bloodstorm move in, generate that one. Flurry Blades, 2 attacks with Blades. You also have the Battle Fury to get around a shape change. You have an Outwit, is that Outwit Smoke Cloud? So Outwit, or if you need stealth on that one turn in particular. And you also have a Prob TK. So again, he's bringing you a TK, he's bringing you a Prob, he's bringing you an attacker, a tie-up, an Outwit. He's bringing you half the support core you want on a team, all by himself. And then for the one-shot, we have Icy Tendrils of Ixalan. It is one of the top 3 in my opinion, mostly because it has to hit. And this is another thing that a lot of these was, when I got to the one-shots that required attack rolls, I was going to bring this up. A lot of them happen to every hit character. So anyone that has multiple targets, I haven't even pulled him yet. Usually I would reference the uncommon Caecilius here because he has triple target precision strike. He can hit 3 people and then apply whatever this is, which in this case is Icy Tendrils, which gives you generate ice blocking adjacent to each one, and then they have to break away from it. So he can kind of like when any of these large multi-targets, you then pop these ones on and disable like half your opponent's team, even the full team at times. So certain things like Astral Clay has Pulse Wave. It's harder to hit with the 8, but if you have that, or where'd he go? Rare Strange is Pulse Wave. You hit everyone on their team, then you would make a blocking adjacent to all of them is a little absurd. So these moon ones get much better when you start dealing with multi-targeting moves. Then on the last 2 boosters, we should get, what's that? 1 more super rare in theory, right? It's gotta be 1 more, because that's counting the prime, only 2 super rares in a chase. Should be 1 more in here somewhere. There he is, Mephisto. He is another one of the figures that I would argue is not as good in sealed as he would be in constructed. Mostly because he needs a little help. I actually think my dad pulled this booster exactly in the second sealed. So Mephisto only has a damage reducer on his first click, then moves into a special version of Mastermind, which is particularly good in this booster because you're going to be with Umar the Unrelenting, who she has invincible for most of her dial and can help just pass that damage off. So let's focus on Mephisto and kind of explain why, for lack of a better term, I don't like him in sealed. He gives your entire opposing team probability control once per game each. So a lot of opponents will either completely ignore having it, or they will use it specifically when they absolutely need an attack to hit, which giving your opponent that kind of A, choice, and B, kind of buff is just a lot. He does have that mind control. It's like mind control, sidestep, stealth. Mind control is free, but only to target a character with a contract token or has a possessor marker attached to it, or that was chosen to be an avatar. So the possessors markers, the patrons are considered avatars or have that contract token. That's why they will likely never choose to take that prob. Now, in Constructed, Animal Man is one of the most common things put on sideboards and put on characters. So he gets to free action mind control. Usually your opponent's main attacker all of a sudden is usually who has Animal Man, and he can free action mind control them for the entire game. It's a little absurd. The other thing is his Mastermind, which is on every click, the first and the last. He has no other reducers on it. When he uses it, he has to choose a friendly character that shares a keyword with him within range and line of fire. So you need both. It needs to be within range, line of fire, and share a keyword. So that's already asking for a lot. The other thing is that he, again, it's the range and line of fire. He has no improved targeting. He has no way to see if there's anything between them. Constructed, you get this guy Destroyer Armor. He then becomes a giant. He can see over everyone. He has a reducer for his whole dial all of a sudden, and he just gets a whole lot better. Is it hardcore meta at that point? Probably not. Is it a really good anti-meta rogue team? Yes. Like you could probably play Mephisto like that, and that would be a lot of fun. Like using him along with the Destroyer Armor and just trying to mind control anyone that got Animal Man. If they had Animal Man on someone, they could just, the sad thing is they could also just say, with Animal Man, I'm taking Battle Fury, so you're not mind controlling me the entire game, which would be a little annoying. But yeah, you would definitely be playing him and playing Umar out of these two, out of this booster, as well as getting that Astral Agatha for that outwit still. We have not seen Caecilius, so I'm just going to assume he's in this booster, that this is the Agatha Caecilius booster. If I'm right about this, I've played too much of the set already, and I've played too much of the set already. Because I've pulled this booster once, my dad has pulled this booster once. This is essentially the booster I won the first one with, was this booster and a booster that's not here, but had a mindless one in it. I actually played most of this booster, so I can speak to, actually this is the exact booster I played on the first one, and I get to explain the interaction I wanted to, because I think this is probably one of the strongest things in the meta as a whole, and I think Agatha is probably one of the strongest characters in the entire set, despite only being a rare. So let's clean up a little bit so we can get a nice little punch in on Agatha. Because the rest of this booster, I'm just going to put them over here. Clea, that same TK. I didn't play either of the shield guys, LMD or the shield spy. There's a lot of shield in this set, and I'm just going to say I'm not a huge fan of any of it. None of it really stands out except for maybe the Dum Dum Dugan and the Wand Agent, just to give shield, which is a very strong team ability, to mystical or monster, and then playing a mystical or monster theme. I don't like any of the pure shield that I'm seeing out of it. That's just me. I could be wrong. Here's Caecilius, as we were saying. Really good stealth, triple target, precision strike. But what's important here is Agatha. And I know I'm going to catch some flack online somehow for focusing more on Agatha than on the Chase or the Super Rare Prime, but I think that's genuinely how good she is. Let's actually move some things over just to kind of make room, because what I'm going to say, I kind of want people to hear, and I don't want them just to hear it as this is no longer just me unboxing a brick. This is no longer a sealed guide for a second. If you've seen the first video I put up, which was after Nationals, when the erratas kind of came through, and I gave my take on the meta. Weird to be cutting this in the middle of this, but let's just say this is a reward for watching then. Agatha. Let's get her before the camera. Agatha. Rare Agatha. Everyone is talking about the release day Agatha, how she's insane, she punches for one-shot usage. I'm not impressed by comparison to this Agatha. I'm actually going to put up the one-shot as well, because this is the combo that essentially won me the first sealed, and I was theorizing about when the first leaks came out about this set, and I saw this Agatha, and I saw images of Icon. A lot of pieces in this set have this spellcaster trait. It is whenever a spell one-shot is flipped, it has an effect. Caecilius does like 1 damage. Dormammu gives like astrals like poison. Agatha, when she turns a spell one-shot face down, so when you use it, after resolution, she's going to heal 2. Not that big a deal, especially because she's not that good of an attacker. Again, everything in this set is basically not what it seems. 75-point rare, you're looking at a running shot precision strike. You're looking at an attacker, like a pulp, not meta attacker. She is a support fig, she has 75 points, and she's 100% worth it. If you've seen me play anything in meta, you will see that I run Spot Swamp Thing like 90% of the time, and it does very well. A lot of people, when they play against me, think Swamp Thing is carrying my game, and he is, but again, not how you expect. He is a 75-point support fig. Again, I have had him roll regen, more times than he has attacked in many tournaments. He is there for a passive effect that completely breaks open the game. And Agatha's very similar. It's the second part of her spellcaster trait. When another friendly character with the mystical keyword is KO'd, after resolutions, you may turn a friendly face-down spell one-shot, face up. So she is reflipping, which all the Sorcerer Supremes, the symbiote, the magic, they can do that when they KO an opposing character. This is when you KO a friendly character. So it's a punish. But if you've played anything in meta, you have also known that there are ways you can KO your own characters. Let me finish explaining what Agatha does, and then go to images, and then explain the combo. Her second trait, a witch's work has never done, is willpower. Whenever she rolls a single d6, as if the result is a 1 or 2, you can generate an Astral Agatha within range on its starting click. First off, generation, not adjacent, but within range is already good. Second, I've probably highlighted this multiple times in the video already, when we pulled the Astral Agathas, they have Outwit that's adjacent, which is a lot better than it seems. Again, an Outwit in a set with very few mystics is very strong. When you're going to start then looking in the meta, you'll get into more cosmics, but you run something like Leech, you run something like Beta Ray Bill, you won't have those cosmics anymore to worry about. But that's not really the combo here. The combo here is she's rolling willpower every turn, 1 or 2, she's making this, which is a friendly character, which has phasing and 4 through 6 senses. It is going to phase up almost it's generated 4 away. It can move like 8, I think. Let's double check that to know that I'm not just talking out of nowhere. Yeah, 8 phasing. So let's actually move this up with Agatha, her little astral. I pulled 1 in my sealed. I had it out, and I felt bad that multiple times I was rolling 1s and 2s on things. I couldn't get more out. In constructed, you absolutely can, and you probably will. So going 4 out to start, and then moving 8 more. That's a 12 square swing. That is most of the map, 16 squares. This thing is going to tie up an opposing character. Your opponent will either go, well, shoot, I got to get rid of this thing so that I'm not tied up with them, unless they're running something with a lot of improved movement like Rogue or like any of those major figures. But with the way meta works, a lot of people will go, I need points. I need points to win. So I'm going to get the free 15 points you just gave to me. So you're going to make that, you're going to go set up the screen with her, whatever you want. You're going to flip images of icon, you're going to roll the d6, and then basically make one of your figures almost entirely immune for the turn, which I'll read images of icon real quick as well. Friendly characters with a mystical keyword. Okay, so this is keyword locked. Have free, roll a d6, give the character a number of illusion markers equal to half the result. As long as the character has any illusion markers when they would be targeted by an attack, they remove the illusion marker. If they do, they can't be targeted by the attack. The attacker can still choose a new target, so it's like an auto-succeeded shape change. At the beginning of your turn, remove all illusion markers from this character. Notably, it's not shape change, Battle Fury won't stop it. So it's auto rollouts, essentially like can't target. It is giving the ability to the characters so you can pulse wave through it, but for almost anything else, they're automatically getting out. This is anywhere between 1 and 3 just can't targets. So you can utilize this with Agatha, making Agatha essentially immune to attacks, or another character who's in a bit more of a dangerous spot, essentially immune to attacks, and then setting up essentially a screen, just going up, tying people up and going, you have to deal with the Astral. The Astral, who mind you, has a 17 defense with a 4 through 6 rollout. 50-50 rollout on a fig that will only get you 15 points, and you'll take a penetrating damage for killing. You'll score 15 points, but then they get to reflip the images of icon again. And they can do that almost every turn if they keep rolling a 1 to 2 on willpower. If you try to attack them and they get to do a 1 to 2 on shape change. Another thing with if she's to use images on herself, it says when they would be targeted by an attack, which is the same timing as her shape change, I will get to roll a shape change first before you attack me. If shape change succeeds, you don't attack me, and I don't have to use the images. If I roll a 1 or 2 on the shape change though, I get to make another astral, which might just get me another images of icon. Now, when you combo this with other characters that generate things, more astrals like Dormammu, like if you played Agatha Dormammu in sealed, who can then make more Dormammus and mindless ones. I keep saying mindful one, that was the uncommon from AV4E, but anything else that's also generating, you're getting to reflip. Images of icon in particular. They have to be spell one-shots, but that's images, that's Icy Tendrils, which was the other one I had in that sealed actually, which is that that blocking that ties people up. You are looking at just this genuinely oppressive figure. Now, when you get in constructed, a little bit of peek behind the curtain on how I build things, I look for strong synergies first. and then I build completely around that synergy. I don't try to slot something into a team too much. Like if I have quote unquote modes, it's more stuff like a barrier mode or an alpha strike mode. When you build around a full strategy around one interaction in particular, it might seem very one-dimensional, but it also lets the rest of your team be very flexible in how you want to approach things. This combo of Agatha and spell one-shots is frankly annoying. And there are some figures I want to combo her with that I'm not going to quite say yet, because either I'm going to save that for another video, or that might be what I'm running in about a month's time. But between a lot of the new one-shots and Agatha in particular, I think despite her being a 75-point rare, a lot of people said she is too expensive for what she does. Note also, 75 points, generally, to my knowledge, WizKids tries to keep it around 10 points a click. It gets skewed on a lot of these lower point ones that have like 3 clicks, but generally it's 10 points a click. Any of the tent poles, it's going to get away from that. But being 75 points does afford her 8 clicks of life. When I'm getting hit with images, the other thing is I get to choose if I want to use it or not. Sometimes I'll eat that hit for 3 and not use the image, so that when I flip it again later, I can heal the 2 back again. So it gives you a bit of, sometimes health is what you need to do because the dials change. Other times, like Agatha, your health is a resource that she can use. She's playing with how much life she has left because you know you can get it back, especially if she hits down to regen or something. You can regen and flip a one-shot and you're right back to full health again. So using her with anyone with Mastermind, they could just Mastermind off to her. She's extremely strong. And I kept saying if I'm doing a full brick build, I think I've talked about everything in here enough that you can kind of surmise what I would be building. I don't think there are any major events that will be using Strange Tales. And I think this peek behind the meta curtain of what is to come works better as a send-off and close for this video. That don't sleep on Agatha. She is a genuine meta character, not just the release day one, but this rare. And I think I'll leave you on that information and see what you all can come up with teams as well with this. Thank you.